Hello and welcome to our section 2 of the drawing lessons, and that's more theoretical, and today we will discuss about composition and layout. Composition and layout refer to the way that visual elements are arranged within drawing or design. Good composition and layout are important because they can greatly affect the overall impact and effectiveness, impact of a piece of artwork. Unfortunately, the artists tend to ignore a little bit the composition and the rules of composition because this is not about talent and skill, but more of preparation and combination of the elements that we will have to use in a drawing. Some key principles to keep in mind when thinking about composition and layout include balance. Balance it's very important because it makes your drawing feel balanced and harmonious. You can achieve balance through symmetry or asymmetry. I prepared an example. This is a painting, and the balance is achieved by symmetry. You see, the left and the right side of the drawing, they are somewhat symmetric. We can achieve the balance through asymmetry, which you can see in the famous painting of Hokusai, a big wave. This is the center, the middle of the drawing, and the composition is asymmetric. We will discuss now about the focal point. We can have in a composition one focal point, which is very easy to achieve. Two focal points, and it's not advisable to use three focal points, which is very difficult to achieve. Focal point is the area of a drawing that is intended to be the center of attention. It is important to carefully consider where to place the focal point, because you will create a balance and harmony. I will show you some examples of focal point. The focal point you can achieve by contrast, and I will show you an example of focal point of two focal points, and this is achieved through contrast. The yellow, yeah, and contrasting with the blue, and here we have the dark contrasting with the light. It's a good example of two focal points. We can achieve a focal point through value, and I prepared here an example of achieving focal point. The focal point is here, and of course it is achieved through value. Another way to achieve a focal point is by isolation. Here, it is a good example of achieving a focal point through isolation. We have the figure isolated here, the entire composition, and of course our attention goes here because it is a focal point achieved by isolation. Another way to achieve focal point is making something unusual, like in this painting. He's a rider, and this is something unusual. It is not a tree, it is not a rock, it is like a stargate or something like this. And this rider goes through this direction, and of course we achieve this focal point because we don't know what this means. Of course it is harmonious in the composition, but it is unusual. Yes. Other means of composition is the contrast. Here is an example of good composition with contrast. The horse tries to break free, and we have the light, and we have contrasting with the shadow which is in the stable, and that's a good example of contrast. Another aspect is the flow. The flow is the way that the viewer's eye moves through the drawing. And it creates a clear and natural flow through the drawing and can help create a more engaging and impactful composition. Yeah, here are some examples of flow. This is one example of a good flow. Our eyes go around and they stop to the child that is riding the horse. It's like a spiral. Yeah. Another example, it's this pond with water lily, and our eyes, they go around from here, and they can look here, something's happening there, it's something in the shadow and the contrast, and then come back. Yeah, it's also a circular motion of the flow. We should discuss also about the scale and proportion. Scale and proportion, meaning the size of the visual elements within a composition, and they can greatly affect the impact. Yeah. And we can discuss also about the repetition, which we have here, all these poppies, and creates repetition. And we can also discuss about the rhythm. The rhythm, because what is composition actually? Actually, composition we can compare it with a string of musical notes with a melody. Everything should come in place. You see here, this is a rhythm. These are it's a regatta, and these are the boats, and we have them like and this is the rhythm. These principles are not strict rules, but you have to follow them in your drawings, because they have to be balanced, they have to have harmony. And you should start all your artwork before you begin to draw with a thumbnail, which is something like this, a thumbnail. And in this thumbnail you will establish actually what how your composition, how your drawing will look like. Yeah, this is kind of yeah, the other way around. We made the drawing first. Of course, I made a thumbnail before, but I'm showing you how to make it. Yeah, you make a thumbnail, and you draw, and maybe the first time it's not the best one, maybe not the second time, maybe not the third, the fourth, the fifth, but in the end you will find the right way to express what you would like, or what you would love to transmit to the viewer. Thank you very much for listening, and we will continue with the principles of design and understanding the rule of third. Thank you.